What is up, ladies and gentlemen? But most of all, you ladies out there, thanks for clicking on another episode of Break the Silence. I am your host, Cyborg. Donovan Mitchell is him. Let's talk about it. Split out! We just got done watching an absolutely fascinating NBA game between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Los Angeles Lakers. A game in which highlighted the greatness of Donovan Mitchell and a lot of things that the Cleveland Cavaliers do incredibly. Now, we're going to talk about this game and break down both sides because I think it was very interesting and I think it highlighted a lot of strengths of both teams and weaknesses of both teams. So we're going to talk about those. Obviously, when you're looking at the Lakers, Anthony Davis did leave this game with an illness pretty early on. And so it'll be interesting to see how long he's out. They do have a game tomorrow in Toronto. So I'd imagine he misses that game, but we'll see what happens there. The Lakers recently have been going as Anthony Davis goes. So, when we're talking about this game, don't want to be overly critical of the Lakers as a whole, but we do want to talk about some of their flaws because there are clear flaws when you're looking at this roster and the way that they play. I want to start, before I get into it, please take a second to like and subscribe to the channel. You see we're almost at 600 subscribers. If you could, please hit that little button. It would help me out tremendously. I can't wait to get 600. We're going to keep grinding, keep growing. So help a brother out and join the squad. But we're going to start with talking about the team that won. But I want to quickly say, if I have to watch Patrick Beverley take one more godforsaken three-pointer, I am going to lose my marbles. That guy is terrible. He's borderline unplayable, and I'm going to really get into him. Pause. I'm going to I'm going to discuss Patrick Beverley a little more in depth here in a second. But I want to start with the Cleveland Cavaliers. But we got to figure out the Pat Bev thing. But tonight, Donovan Mitchell gave you 43 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists with 4 steals. He was unbelievable. His ability to attack the basket and finish with finesse, finish with power, gave it to you any way you wanted it tonight. Donovan Mitchell was firing from the three-point line, hit all of his free throws, was a plus 21. Unbelievable game from Donovan Mitchell. And I've been highly impressed from what I've seen from him and Garland together this season. It was a big question mark. How would those two guards be able to play together? When the Cavs made this trade, you're obviously, you're trying to evaluate it, some of the ways that it could go wrong, some of the ways that it could go really well. And Garland is a great facilitator, great passer, one of the top assist man in the NBA. He had 11 tonight, but those two have played beautifully off of each other. Now, when you get in crunch time in big games, that'll be interesting to see a little bit. But as of so far, so good from the Cleveland Cavaliers. They sit third in the Eastern Conference, right behind the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks, and they are right there knocking on the door of being in that discussion for a top 3 team in the Eastern Conference. So the Cleveland Cavaliers have highly impressed me to start the season. Now, tonight, Evan Mobley was dealing with foul trouble. Kevin Love was dealing with foul trouble. So some of those guys didn't get to play as much as normal, and they still played at an elite level. Now, why are the Cavs so good? Well, they're tied for first in the league in defensive rating right now. So we're talking about what makes teams great. Playing defense at a high level, oftentimes the teams that are playing the best defense are going to be the best teams in the NBA. Right now, the Bucks, Cavs, and Pelicans are the top 3 teams defensively, and all 3 of those teams are second or third in their respective conferences. So very important on the defensive end of the court. The Cavaliers shoot pretty well from the three-point line. Now, they don't shoot a lot of them, but they shoot pretty well from the three-point line. Tonight, they did struggle a little bit. They were 7 of 27. Don't even get me started on the Lakers on the other side. That was unbelievable to watch how poorly they shoot the ball. But this Cleveland Cavaliers team is a legitimate contender in the Eastern Conference. I think they're right there in that discussion. They're 10th right now in offense. And when they're playing at their best, they're really tough to beat. Now, their issue last year was in tight games down the stretch, Darius Garland struggled. And as a result, this team struggled as a whole because most of the onus, most of the ball handling, most of the playmaking responsibility was put on Darius Garland. This year, you added Donovan Mitchell to relieve some of that pressure on Darius Garland, and now they can both make plays in the clutch. Donovan Mitchell loves those big moments, loves taking those big shots. We've seen him perform in big playoff games. So when you're talking about going up against the Milwaukee Bucks, the Boston Celtics, those are not going to be blowout games. Those are going to be games that come down to the wire, and it's going to be my star versus your star. It's going to be Jason Tatum versus Donovan Mitchell. It's going to be Giannis Antetokounmpo, Chris Middleton versus Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland. So that's why it's imperative that those two, completely figure out how to play with each other in crunch time and big situations in the regular season, and that the Cavs took a step forward in that department. And that's why I like the trade that the Cavs made for Donovan Mitchell. I think that is a trade that was appropriate, taking that step, saying, hey, I think we're right on the precipice of being able to compete with the development of Evan Mobley, with the development of Jarrett Allen. You got Karis LeVert, Kevin Love. You'll bring back Ricky Rubio at some point. You have pieces. You have a squad. Let's make a run in the next year or two to see if we can compete in the Eastern Conference with this nucleus. Now, Jarrett Allen started this game unbelievable. He was 9 of 9 and had, I believe, I don't know if it was 20 or 22 in the first quarter, or in the first half. He finished the game with 24 and 11. Evan Mobley, like I said, was in foul trouble. He had 7 points, 12 rebounds. Now, many of you know I am really, really high on Evan Mobley. I think he's one of the best rim protectors in the entire NBA in year two. And offensively, he has a very wide variety of skill sets. He's not shooting the three ball at a high percentage, but he's capable of it. So as he progresses in that, he's got a little mid-range game. He can do a little floater. He's athletic. He's long. I really like what I see from Evan Mobley. And I think that this is one of the most complete teams in the entire NBA. Now, a little bit at that forward position, that wing position, I do worry a little bit. You're playing Lamar Stevens. You're playing Isaac Okoro, who, God bless him, the guy's just no good at basketball. But you're playing some of these guys that, you struggle a little bit at that forward position. So, something that they maybe need to look at addressing if they have any more trade assets, maybe before the trade deadline, if you could get a slightly better player, just someone who can fill that role a little bit, a 3-and-D kind of guy. Let's move on to the other side of the ball, because this Los Angeles Lakers team, they've been playing decent as of late when Anthony Davis averages 50 points a game and LeBron James plays great, and they're putting so much pressure on those two to do everything. Now, Russell Westbrook has been playing better as of late. He's averaging 16 points, he had 16 points and 3 assists tonight. I don't think he played that bad at all. I think the criticism of Russ is largely overstated. He obviously turns the ball over too much, sometimes doesn't shoot very well. He's not all that efficient. That's kind of what he's been for his entire career. But because he's in LA, because he's playing next to LeBron, he tends to get a lot of that criticism. But I think Russ is maybe starting to figure things out. Coming off the bench, I think, is a big move for Russell Westbrook. Highly impressive from him to be able to take that step back from his ego. And Darvin Ham, getting him to accept that role. When you're talking about Darvin Ham, Anthony Davis was pretty adamant that he didn't want to play center. Now he's playing center and thriving. Russell Westbrook didn't want to come off the bench. Now he's coming off the bench playing well. So Darvin Ham is making moves to try to make this team competitive. They just need a little more juice. And honestly, the problem is the three-point line. They shot 36 three-pointers tonight and hit 6 of them. That is 16.7%. They're right now 26th in the NBA in three-point percentage. Now, this is highlighted by one of their starting guards, Patrick Beverley, for the season. This is the real stat. I'm reading it right now. 27.5% from the field. That's not the three. 27.5% from the field is unplayable level basketball. 22.2% from three. And the problem with Pat Bev is that he shoots 3.2 threes a game. He's not a low-volume three-point shooter. This guy's putting up shots, and he's hitting them at a 20% clip. And this Lakers team is greatly suffering from their lack of three-point shooting, because LeBron's greatest skill set is getting his players wide-open three-point looks. When Anthony Davis is dominating in the paint, being able to spread the floor with shooters is so important. And even Russell Westbrook is a good passer, getting his guys decent looks a lot of the time. They have to have someone who can knock these shots down. And flatly, they just don't right now. Lonnie Walker was 0 of 5 from 3. Dennis Schroeder's 1 of 6 from 3. And I swear I don't think that guy's strong enough to hit a three-point shot. I've never seen a guy hit the front of the rim more often than Dennis Schroeder. But he's actually a nice player. I like Dennis Schroeder all right. What do you got? Thomas Bryant was 1 of 4 from 3. Austin Reeves, 0 of 4 from 3. Kendrick Nunn, 0 of 2. Westbrook, 0 of 1. LeBron, 2 of 6. Like, no one is giving you legitimate three-point production. Not one of these guys on the roster, not one guy on their entire roster shot 50% from 3 tonight. Not one guy gave you 1 of 2 or 2 of 4. That's an issue. You're just not going to be able to score enough points to compete with teams like the Cleveland Cavaliers and good teams in the NBA. Now, a lot of media becomes quickly enamored with a couple good performances, especially when it comes from the Lakers, and immediately want to ask the question, is this team a contender? Is this team have a chance to turn their season around? They have a chance to make the play-in tournament, but they don't have a chance to contend for a title. I don't know what we're talking about. We jump the gun on teams flatly. They don't shoot good enough, and they're 11th in defense. So if you're going to be a bad shooting team, you need to at least defend really, really well. And they don't really do that either. Now, the Los Angeles Lakers have been rumored to make a move. Russell Westbrook, I think, is playing good enough to where I don't know that I'd move him. I don't know that you get good value for trading Russell Westbrook. I think you potentially are able to do a Pat Bev, one of their other guys, Lonnie Walker maybe, kind of trade, and those first 2 picks, see if you could get a Miles Turner, Buddy Hield. Maybe the Pacers take something like that, but the Pacers are playing at a high level, so I don't know that they'd even be interested in that. So really interesting what the Lakers are going to do from here. But this Cavs team's legit. This Cavs team's super good, and I think we're gonna keep talking about them because I think they're really fun to watch, and I think they're a real contender in the Eastern Conference. That's all we got for you tonight. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button.